Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Welcome back. I hope you had good experience with the food and everything. Okay, thank you. Now we have come on that second, on that part, where we'll now be having a panel discussion. In that panel discussion, we will be talking about many things about spirituality and its application in our day to day life. And in order to address many of your questions and give us the understanding, those small, small concepts, logics, which can help us navigate our day to day professional and personal life, I welcome on stage our dearest Bala Bhai. Bala Bhai, who had already taken our session on overcoming overthinking. I request Bala Bhai to please join us on stage and to accompany him and give us such enriched answers. I would now call upon our next speaker, BK Rama Didi. BK Rama Didi has been associated with Brahma Kumaris since childhood. She coordinates services activities at City Food Center. Many organizations she has worked with supported them like BHEL, Indian Oil, Tata Power, Indian Army, and has given them the enriched knowledge and understanding of applied spirituality. So let us join hands once again and welcome both of them. Thank you. Thank you. Om Shanti. Before starting it, I would request our sister to come and give bouquet to both of them. Please come. So we are ready for our next session. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for coming after a very good dinner. And I promise we won't disappoint you. So good. Ramaben, let's begin. So this conversation is supposed to be about applied spirituality.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what is spirituality and what is applied spirituality?
Om Shanti. Spirituality, to my understanding and experience, is the way I apply this knowledge to become a better version of myself. You know, how we apply all these spiritual truths and concepts in our thinking, in our choices, so that we become the better or best version of the self. And the application part is applied spirituality, is understanding these concepts of soul consciousness, who am I, and the deeper, subtler aspects related to it, in shifting our perspective from a limited body conscious outlook to a more, universal, more accepting, more inclusive outlook. So, application begins from everything we do in our consciousness, the way we look at things, the way we perceive, and the way we decode or decipher the situations and respond to it.
Wonderful. So what you just shared is it all starts with awareness.
Yes.
Who I think I am decides how I look at the world. So my awareness determines my attitude, and my attitude determines what I see. How I see determines what I see. So my attitude determines my drishti. So
Yes.
from smriti comes vritti. Awareness creates my attitude, and my attitude decides what I see. That is, how I see decides what I see. You agree with that? And what I see decides what I do. My kriti, my drishti decides my kriti. and how I act determines the world around me, my srishti. So it starts with smriti, then vritti, then drishti, then kriti, then srishti. And what I see around me is what I keep remembering. Smriti comes from the word smara. Smara means to remember, to repeat. So my srishti determines my smriti. So what I understood is, if we want to change the world around us, whatever the world around me, then I should start by changing my smriti, who I think I am, because that is what determines the srishti or the world around me. So when I start thinking about myself as body, what happens? And when I switch that awareness and start thinking that I am a soul, then what happens? That is what we will explore in a little more detail today. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because all of you, most of you must have attended today morning session, the first session about the soul. So how do we translate that into day-to-day life, where the knowledge of soul becomes soul consciousness, is what we will explore in the next few minutes. Sarama Ben, why don't you tell
So,
us?
see, the whole aspect of consciousness is whatever it is that which we identify ourselves deeply. That identity from which we are borrowing our self-worth. What Bhai was trying to explain, that chain of consciousness, smriti, vritti, drishti, kriti. The observer is the observed. The observer, that is I, the way I observe a thing, you know, it's always shaped by how I see myself or the way I feel about myself. So, soul consciousness versus body consciousness. I am a soul, I am a peaceful being, I'm unique. When I understand that I am unique, how does it change my attitude? How does it change the way I look at things? What are the, shifts that we go through? There are a lot of aspects that almost stop existing. Like, for example, comparison. If I am unique, would I ever compare myself with anyone? No. And if you are also unique, then would I compare you with anyone? No. So, this whole self talk we have, or the talk we have with others, based on comparison, based on I should be like this, or you should be like her, you should be like him, all this would change, right? So, understand this, you are unique, how it sets you free from so many things, how it shapes your uh, the way you perceive the world, how it shapes your choices. So it ends self criticism and judgment, it ends judgment for others, it redefines your goals for yourself. Then instead of competing and comparing, you start talking to yourself like this: okay, let me compete with myself. If I am unique, if the role I am playing, it's shaped only for me, then let me see what best could I bring in to this role to make it unique and very special. So it's a different self talk we. So this can go on with other things also. All aspects of your life start getting redefined by understanding your uniqueness.
If you, if I'm unique, it also means you are unique. Is that the
Yes.
corollary? And if you go a little bit deeper into I am unique with respect to the self, if I am unique and you are unique, it means I cannot become you and you cannot become me.
Mm.
Very simple. If I cannot become you and you cannot become me, there's no point in me trying to make you like me and me trying to become like you. And if you reflect, almost all the sorrow that we experience, especially in relationships, is to make someone else like me or me trying to become like somebody else, which is fundamentally not possible if you understand this simple principle of soul consciousness that you are unique and I am unique. We are about 400 plus in the hall. Is there anyone else like you? Is there anyone else like you in the whole universe? Isn't that beautiful? No one else exists who's like me. That means I'm special, Vishesh. And when I am unique and you are unique, then there is no point in we comparing with each other, as Ramaben was mentioning. And now you translate this into various aspects of life. If you start comparing yourself with your classmate, when you bring in this consciousness, this smriti, that my classmate is also unique and I am also unique, it means their intelligence is different from mine, their capability is different from mine, the way they think and react is different from mine. Yes or no? I'm just trying to, we are just trying to build that corollary, nothing else. So when the other person is more intelligent than me, is that my mistake? Should I feel guilty about it? If the other person is more capable than me, if the other person is more rich than me, should I blame myself? If other person got a better offer than me, should I blame myself? So you see how by simply remembering just this one small principle, this smriti, that I am unique, how it starts impacting how you see yourself and how you see yourself in relationship with others. And we are just exploring one aspect of soul consciousness. There are many. We just started with only one. I am unique. So now Rama Benji will explain when you start applying this principle between parents and children, how does this principle play out? We are going to start applying this one simple principle in every aspect of life. We'll go into little more detail, spend a few minutes, and then experience the power of soul consciousness, what you learnt in the morning.
So, building upon what Bala Bhai shared, so uniqueness, as he said, it comes out or gets expressed in many aspects of our personality. One aspect can be, how expressive we are or how, uh, reserved we are, or let's say the speed with which we accomplish tasks. Even the timeline is unique. The way we perform tasks, somebody does it in a certain way, and we start comparing. So you can maybe, apply, start understanding your uniqueness from by studying your own self criticism and judgment. If you observe all the critical talk we have about self and others, from that you can tick off each point and apply the unique principle there. And in parent child relationship, we all know, most of the parents try to shape the children according to the way they believe is right. They shape the choices of their children, like they should be a doctor or engineer or whatever. Or they try to shape, or they compare their children with others' children, or they compare one sibling with another sibling, the younger one with the elder one, or elder one with the younger one, that you should be like him or her. They do this, right? So all this puts lot of pressure on that soul which is unique to become something that soul is not, which is so tough, right? If you are pressured to be someone else, how would you feel? So, this kind of comparison, this kind of emotional stress that parents themselves go through, and they try to hammer someone to be like someone else, this creates lot of emotional trauma in some children. And sometimes they withdraw into themselves because that child is confused. Who am I? You know, I'm not good enough. Mm. Unless I become like this one or that one, I'm not accepted. I'm not respected. I will not be loved. So, that kind of expectation, it creates lot of emotional distress for parents and for the children. So, if we accept each child as a unique person, as Bala was sharing, you all have maybe heard of the poet Khalil Gibran. So, that quote, Bala, you were sharing about children, please share.
So there's this Libyan poet called Khalil Gibran who wrote this book called The Prophet. He writes about many aspects of life, and about children he says, your children are not your children. Your children are not your children. They came through you, not from you. They came through you, not from you. And they have come to tell their own story. Allow them.
So, parenting is like facilitating, parenting is not walking them through each step. It's like facilitating. You have to create the right emotional or interrelationship conditions which let that soul express its own uniqueness. Let that seed bloom. So parenting and teaching is more like facilitating, not, you know, like fixing them or making them go through, setting them in a mold. No.
Your intentions as parents are absolutely right. You want the best for them. But when you start bringing in your own ego into it, I am from IIT and you want to do BCom? सोचा है मुंह कैसे दिखाऊं? How can I show my face? I am from IIT. At least to do engineering from a local private college. You want to become a painter? कुछ नहीं मिला है. भीख मांगोगे? You want to beg? You want to become a painter? And how does the world, how will they respond? Sir, what did you become and what did you make your child? What answer should I give? So now you see how you are literally trying to force your child so that your self-respect is not hampered. And there the equation of child, the agency that you need to give to the child, that respect is completely lost. And you see the amount of emotional stress that gets generated for the child, especially if the elder one is extrovert and the younger one is introvert. Last year I was speaking to a relative of mine, especially during COVID, the younger one, he withdrew himself and he went bright kid. He went to college. He could not survive there. He said, Amma, I'm not going to go to college. He came back home. Hours together, he used to play games and he would not even speak. She was completely upset. He was 18 years old. And then when I started speaking with them, this is what I told her. You know, did you try to understand where that person comes from? And this is a typical Indian parent thing. I don't know about other parents, but at least Indian parents, your love is so much that it chokes the kid. And the younger one was constantly told since childhood, because he was an introvert, the parents never understood it. Why don't you go out and play? Why don't you speak? Why don't you do math? Why don't you be more active like your brother? And this went on for 16 long years. And now, when the kid withdrew and he doesn't want to speak, the mother and father, they got so upset, they are completely lost because they constantly violated this simple principle of uniqueness. It's so painful because each one is different. Are you acknowledging that difference and then gently allowing them to make the decision that they want to make? Like they say, tu bhi rani, main bhi rani, to kaun bharega pani? So we need everybody in the society. And that's where another aspect of soul consciousness we will deal. I mean, we will discuss if we have time. It's about each one of us being equal. We are not same. We are equal. There's a big difference. We are different. And at the same time, we are equal. That's another principle of soul consciousness. And if you consider this uniqueness itself, if you take it to the workplace, if you are a manager and there is one team member, whatever you present, the team member will tell you why this will not work. Whatever you present. So now you say, next time when you want to go for a meeting, is that fellow coming? Don't invite him. Because this, whatever I say, he says how it will not work. At least acknowledge I'm a boss, I am manager, I'm presenting something. Now this is when you don't acknowledge that soul's uniqueness. But if you integrate this point that that soul is unique and that is how they approach things, then you will not fight. You will say, okay, there might be a point. Let me accept, I need not agree. Two different things. Accepting means respecting your opinion. Agreement comes later. So when I start looking at each of my team members that as they are unique, then I will allow them to speak. I may not agree, but at least I will allow them. I will not stop them. And see that kind of a team where the manager is willing to listen to you. And such a huge thing in today's world. And where we talk a lot about psychological safety in teams. Google did this experiment a few years ago, where they asked this simple question: which team is most effective and efficient team? Most effective team. Who are the high performance teams and what are their qualities? If you search on the net, not now, if you search on the net NY Times and then Project Aristotle, you'll get a very beautiful article. And one of the first qualities that they came up with is those teams in which the team members feel psychologically safe are the ones that thrive because you are allowed to be yourself. Please make a note and reflect, because that is what we ask for in every relationship. Can I be myself? Can I get that space? Yes or no? Can I be myself? And that relationship and that kind of professional environment where I am allowed to be myself without any fear of negative repercussions, when you have that kind of a boss, when you become that kind of a leader, see the difference it makes for the good ideas. No idea is brushed aside. Every idea will bubble up because everyone feels safe to speak up. Whether that idea works or not is something different, but at least you're allowed to speak. Ask yourself, how many times in your life, how many times, whether at home or even in office, where you wanted to say something and then you said, nahi, abhi nahi. Have you been there? Yes. Even in the office, even in the team meetings, when they ask you, you know that something is not right, but you hold it for yourself because you don't want to upset the rest of the crowd. But in that team, if everybody is unique and everybody acknowledges this, then you don't have to hide and see the kind of world that gets created. Now, that is the power of just this one single principle of I am unique. We would encourage you to just write that word, I am unique, that phrase, and keep reflecting while you're here. We all agree there is nothing to fight about it that I am unique. Will any one of you, or is there anyone else in the world who will say, no, I'm a copycat? I'm not unique? This is a self evident truth, and that is the power of soul consciousness.
The other aspect of soul consciousness, which is very empowering, is self mastery. I am a master. I'm a master of my mind. I'm a master of the emotions that I go through. I'm a master of my inner kingdom, master of my senses. So, when we acknowledge that we are in control of the thoughts we create and every emotion that comes up or shows up, no, we don't have to identify it or we don't have to be influenced by it. We may be influenced temporarily, but once you acknowledge this self sovereignty, I am this peaceful being, I am this pure being, I am this joyful being. You know, when you come from that reality, then all these emotions are like passing clouds you can see in a detached way. And you don't identify with each emotion or thought. So, Balabai, can you share how this aspect of mastery has helped you in your own journey?
Sure. And let me complete this point of uniqueness and then I'll come to the mastery. What I found, I got associated with Brahma Kumaris 32 years ago. And you all enjoy the food? Yes? So they have mastered this concept that pehle pethoba fir vithoba. Those of you from Maharashtra can identify. So the shortest route to one's heart, yes. So the shortest route to one's heart is through the mouth, is through the stomach. So this is what brought me in contact with Brahma Kumaris, and then that journey still continues. And there are many unique things about this organization, which I found during the course of all these years. One of the things that I found very fascinating here is any task that they do, they will never call it as task or calm. They'll say they call it as seva. Seva means that which is an offering. The difference between task and seva, an offering, is the same as the difference between kheer and prasad. There's a difference because once you offer it, it belongs to him, and then it becomes prasad, it becomes divine. So, like that, whatever you do here, this is considered as seva. So that's why we call all of them as sevadharis. They are vice presidents, they are CEOs, CXOs. You would not recognize. And tomorrow evening, when you meet all the sevadaris, you will know from where all they came and what all kind of seva that they are doing, managing different departments. And another unique way this organization runs, which many of you have asked in yesterday and today, is how does this organization get funded? How does this run? So it runs purely through voluntary contributions. That you first, the one of the founding principles of the founding father Prajapita Brahma, what he laid down was you first help the soul to become a better version of themselves. Unki pehle aap seva karo. And if they like that seva, then they will contribute out of their own will and out of their own desire. And that principle has been running and helping expand this institution all these 80 plus years in the since the 1936 that this organization started way back in Pakistan, Sindh. And to this day, that is how this runs. That is why you will not have any Brahma Kumaris programs where some of you might have inquired before coming here, पैसा कितना देना पड़ता है? 3 दिन हम रहते हैं, ये सब आप दे रहे हो, so how much do we pay so that I can decide? Then you might have been told, no, we don't charge any money, which we don't, because fees means money minus blessings. That's why when you go to a hotel, when that fellow asks you, do you want one more idli or dosa, you know this fellow is trying to increase the bill, because there is no love behind it. But when your mom asks you one more idli or dosa, or when you go to your relative's place, out of love they will offer you. Or here, when you see the smiling mothers and sisters and brothers, aur ek khana hai, aur ek le lo, aur ek le lo. You won't feel, because the bill won't run, because here it is love. So that contribution, fees is money minus blessings. Contribution is money plus blessings. When your heart is filled and then you say, this is what I would like to contribute, then that is the kind of money that runs this organization. So whatever you feel like contributing, you can do that. So there is no charge. And if you feel, I had good fun, sabhi dete hain, to mujhe kyun dena hai, that's fine too, right? Because it depends on what your approach is. So that's why we talk about contributions and not any fees here. And because every act that is done here becomes an offering, the equation becomes between me and him, not between me and you. You are incidental in the process. And that's where that love comes in. Because whatever I am doing to you, you are a proxy, because in turn I am doing it for him. And that is where that kind of beauty and that kind of being surrendered, that comes in. You know, that passion, that love. Because when I'm doing it to you, I'm not doing it to you. I'm doing it to him, for him. So finally, it's going to come into my equation only, into my account. And see that beauty, how beautifully it purifies the whole concept. And that's how this whole organization runs. So that's something very, very unique and very, very profound that I learned, which influenced me very deeply. So I thought I'll share that aspect of uniqueness also about this organization. And now talking about the mastery concept that Ramaben was talking, I'll give you a simple example. This happened with me personally. One of my friends, he introduced his friend saying, Bala, this friend of mine needs some help. I said, fine. During the conversation, I learned that that friend of my friend has become a drug addict. He wants to come out of it, but he could not. He tried many times. He went to rehab, came back again got addicted, and again he went to rehab. This was going on for a few years. Young fellow, 25, 26. And then he came to me. Then I started having conversation. Then we talked about this concept of I am a master. So I introduced him to this concept that you are a master of your mind. You decide whether you want to take that substance or not, because you are the boss. As soon as he heard, he started crying. Because until then, he thought he was a slave for that substance, smriti. And once that awareness changed that he was a master, suddenly he started feeling the innate power he already has. And now he felt that, yes, I can make the decision. I can reject that thought. Then we had a couple of other sessions where I taught him about the principles of overthinking and the few principles about thinking, how your mind works, how you need not believe, how you can always create another thought. All of this based on this simple principle of soul consciousness that I am master. And this conversation happened almost 5 years ago. And to this day, he is sober. He hasn't taken any drugs. Because he moved to, now he decides what he wants to do. The substance doesn't decide. So he's taken to boxing, he's taken to physical exercise, he's taken to a lot of hobbies by his choice. because he always remembers, I am the master. This is the mantra he repeats every single day. And see the power. Because today we feel so helpless about so many things because we forgot about we ourselves being the master of our life. Ask yourself, and you don't have to again feel guilty. It's not about feeling guilty, it's about trying to understand and with a lot of compassion, trying to become a better version of ourselves. Like so beautifully Rama Ben put it, the definition of spirituality. So, one aspect that I am the master can make a huge difference, because when you say I am the master, then I decide to respond. I will not react. You say something, I will decide whether I am going to agree with it or not, because I am the master. As we discussed in the afternoon, when I start reminding myself about my power to create my own experience, suddenly you feel so liberated. Because now it's not a small stupid mobile phone or some app or some email or one like or one extra follower. That doesn't determine my happiness. I create my happiness with the story I tell myself, because I am the master. So when you start approaching things in your life, any small thing of being a master, see the difference it makes. And this is just one more smriti of soul consciousness.
So you can apply it in relationships also. See, in relationships, most of us, how it is going on right now is two souls are not relating to each other as souls. We relate to each other, the image we create about the other one in our consciousness. So I behave or I relate to you. Basically, I'm relating to the image that I have in my consciousness about the way you see me, right? So, all this aspect of uniqueness and mastery, when you apply it to your own inner self talk, वो ऐसा देखते हैं, वो मुझे ऐसा ट्रीट करते हैं, फिर हम उसके प्रति रिएक्ट करते हैं. तो जब हम इस प्रिंसिपल को अप्लाई करते हैं, first you set yourself free from the wrong beliefs or influence that your environment or your own opinion or other people's opinion or their words that have on you. As Bala Bhai said, you are the master of the experience you create. So if you want to create an experience of self respect, you can do it, right? We can choose not to be under the influence of what we hear about us, right? Or what we talk, the kind of thoughts that our mind keeps spinning or churning inside. Do you have a choice there? है आपके पास चॉइस? जो आपका मन आपके लिए कहता है या दूसरे जो कहते हैं, वो आप हो या नहीं हो, ये डिसाइड करने का है, चॉइस है या नहीं है? So you can decide who you are. So everything comes back to that first realization, who am I? If you are a beautiful, magnificent being of peace, joy, love, you are. Why? Because we are God's children. We are created that way. This is what each of us wants in our life to experience. So you can apply this principle of mastery in, you know, choosing the right kind of conversation you have with yourself and not to be under the influence of the environment or what other souls do, behave, or talk, because they are coming from their journey, from what they are going through. So you don't have to identify with that. Okay? So this you can apply in many aspects. Your own negative thoughts, your own negative feelings. You can choose not to identify. They are just passing thoughts and feelings because you are that being of unconditional love, peace, positivity. Okay?
Can a beggar make another beggar rich? क्या एक भिखारी दूसरे भिखारी को शाहूकार बना सकता है? Yes or no? Clear? Agreed?
Yeah.
So, when I want love from you and you want love from me, what happens? The whole relationship breaks apart, correct? And that's what we are seeing in today's world. I want love from you, you want love from me, because I want you to complete me. Right? All the romanticized versions, she completes me, he completes me. And that completion after a year or two becomes incomplete because nothing is getting filled, everything is getting emptied. Because whatever I want him to give or her to give, I'm not at all getting. Now you see how we create our own sorrow by forgetting this smriti that I am the master. So when you are the master, you start giving. And when you start giving, the relationship will blossom or it will dry up. What happens? And anyway, you can't control. Remember the morning's conversation. You can't make them love you on demand, can you? Can you make anyone love you on demand? I am feeling like being loved now. Love me. होता है? Because then that is dependency. But when I am the master, then I start relating with you as an equal. Not somebody more than me, not somebody less than me. Because you are unique and I'm unique. So, this concept of being equal and being master is a immediate corollary of me being unique and you being unique. So, I want to ask, we have 4 more minutes as per the agenda timing. Can we spend a few more minutes discussing one more aspect or we stop here? Okay, thank you. Uh, so we received a few questions here.
Yeah.
One question was about God, which will get answered in tomorrow morning session from 7 to 8. We encourage you to attend the Raj Yoga course because there are very beautiful insights like this you will get to hear, which are life transforming. And there are a few questions about how to feel empowered between toxic management when your manager and superiors don't support you at work. So these kind of many questions about workplace, when you start applying, well, I have to acknowledge these questions were given before we discussed these concepts. So now whoever has written this question and others who gave your questions, you must be seeing when you start passing them through these filters of I am unique, I am master, I am equal, and I am capable of creating my own experience, most of these questions disappear. Yes or no? Suddenly you start feeling more powerful and empowered because now instead of thinking that you are a victim of circumstance, you become a victor of your own experience.
So there are a few questions about trust issues. How do we keep going on when other people don't trust you? So again, it's about you, not the other people. They are coming from their experience of trust or mistrust. But what you choose to do is your choice. So that answers the question. And
Because I cannot make you trust me. I cannot control you. And the more I try to control, the more unhappy and sorrow that I'll experience. I'll continue to do what I'm doing because I can't make you trust me. I will remain consistent, I will remain persistent. And at some point of time, it is a choice you have. You want to continue with that relationship or move on. Then you decide like a master.
So it's about, choosing what you want to experience and express, not what others are doing vis-a-vis that. So we have to center ourselves on that point. And the next is getting rid of thoughts from past and changing the patterns. So it's not about fighting with the negative thoughts, it's about choosing to be positive or your peaceful, loving, joyful self at any given moment. So, the more you create patterns of positivity, these old patterns will vanish. That's the way we choose to be more creative.
We'll discuss about this particular aspect in a little more detail in tomorrow's session. One important point, again, I want to level set the expectations so that you won't get disappointed. All these things that we are talking about, they take time. It's not an event, it's not a flip of a switch, it's a process. And you need to be investing your time and energy every single day. That's why metaphorically, many a times we say, Bala, when we are on top of the mountain, it's fantastic. Like when we do these retreats on Mount Abu. But as soon as we come down the mountain, even metaphorically and physically, when we get into the rest of the valley, whatever we learned, we forget. Yes, you will. That is why I encourage you to make a note in your notebook so that you will keep reminding yourself, you keep reviewing it. And that is how you will respect yourself, the time you gave. Respect is respect. You will keep reviewing it, right? Respect. You will start seeing yourself in a different light. That is the respect that you can give for the time you are giving. So we'll talk about one more as in another 5 minutes, and then we don't want to take more of your time. Is I am eternal? Because some of the questions that were asked about the fear of death. So this is another very important aspect of soul consciousness. If you believe that you are a soul, then soul is neither born nor will it die ever. It's eternal. And those of us who are born and brought up in India, in the Indian culture, whether you agree with it or not, this is something that we have known since childhood. Yes? So when you start experiencing it, not just at the level of the thought or the knowledge, but when you start experiencing it, this fear will be removed. But again, it takes a lot of practice. So I am eternal is such a powerful concept where it also incorporates a lot of questions that we got about karma. The simple thing about karma is it is not retributive. That means you made something wrong, that is why you are going through this loss. That is how generally we talk about karma. No. That's a very disempowering way of talking about karma. The empowering way about talking about karma, which I learned here after coming to Brahma Kumaris, you might want to make a note and reflect. It's very powerful. Where in one of the sessions I heard, you will never face a situation that you cannot overcome. And that is the Ishwariya law. You will never face a situation that you cannot overcome. Whether you remember this principle and you try to overcome it, or you don't remember and you succumb to that situation, is in your hands. But the law says you will never face a situation that you cannot face or overcome. There may be a few battles you will lose, but you will definitely win the war if you persist. with this faith that you will, with this simple principle that you will never face a situation that you cannot handle or overcome. And the law of karma itself is about helping us become a better version of ourselves, so that every situation, every relationship, every trials and tribulations that come in front of us, they are helping you become a better version of yourself, because whatever you do will get added and you can always become a better version of yourself. That's why when you see these prodigies, 3 years old, 4 years old, even now, it just didn't come out just like that, because this is all about the investment that they did in their previous life when you believe that you are eternal. So whatever good you are doing for yourself, it will never go waste. That means you are doing it for yourself. That's why whenever we talk about something nowadays, we ask, right? What's in it for me? There's nothing wrong with it. But when you consider yourself as eternal, then this, in this life, whatever relationships you are having, whatever disturbances you are having, you will not consider them as limited only to this life, where you will say this investment will definitely get paid off. This is never going to go waste. And that is so empowering. So this principle of I am eternal, we can go into a lot more detail, but we don't have time now. So I'm just giving you some thoughts for you to just reflect. A few other aspects of soul consciousness which you might want to make a note and reflect in this form. Next is I am connected. So when you club karma and eternity, you are never alone. You are always connected. I am connected. One of the biggest problems in today's world is loneliness. You're in the middle of a crowd, still you feel lonely. But when you start remembering that I am connected, then you are never alone. Next beautiful concept or principle of soul consciousness is I am light. I'm not this body made up of 5 elements. I am that spiritual light. And the next most important principle, I am valuable. Whether I recognize it or not, whether the world recognizes it or not, that's a different question altogether. But inherently, I am valuable. When I start considering myself as valuable, when I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. When I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. When I start seeing myself as this body limited to this life, and only looking at myself from the perspective of the external achievements, then my appreciation of myself is very limited because I'm constantly comparing. But when I start changing the way I look at myself, that I am valuable, then I will start finding all those beautiful things that were already hidden in me. But it all starts with that smriti, that I am valuable. So how many do we have now? We started with I'm unique, I am master, I'm equal. Next, I am connected, I am eternal, I am valuable, I am light. Now, if you see, all of these are self-evident truths. See the beauty? When I say you are the master, is there anyone in this hall or in this world who will say, no, Bala, I'm a slave? मैं मास्टर कहाँ यार मैं नहीं हूं मैं तो slave हूं. Is there anyone who says that, including a small kid to somebody who hasn't even, who faced a lot of failures, even he intrinsically feels I'm a master, yes or no? So these are self-evident truths. It's just that we need to keep bringing them into our smriti, into our awareness, and start reflecting on how that awareness can impact our attitude, and how our attitude changes our vision, our drishti, how we see ourselves and how we see the world. And that influences how we respond or act, and that creates the beautiful srishti around us or the creation around us. So it all starts with these simple smritis. Okay? So we'll sit down and do a couple of minutes of reflection where Ramaban is going to walk us through a simple summary of this. Is that okay? And then we go for go to our rooms for a good night's sleep. And no mobiles, at least when you are here, because they will disturb all these beautiful thoughts that you already have. So allow them to be there while you are going to sleep. You'll get very good sleep.
And come back for Amrit Vela.
Yeah.
So sit back, relaxed, and gently focus inwards. As you breathe in, relax your body, all the nerves, muscles, and focus your attention gently at the center of the forehead. You realize you are this tiny point of light, a sentient point of energy, a soul, the one who thinks, understands, and experiences everything. You're not this physical body. You are a spiritual being, a point of light. See your identity as this eternal, immortal being. I am this being of light, a unique, magnificent being. There is no one like me. I am beautiful, special. My role in this world is absolutely unique, perfect. Only I can play this role. See your own beauty, your uniqueness, your special place in this matrix of life. Only you can fit in that. I am a peaceful soul, a being of joy. I radiate immense love and peace. In this moment, I realize I can be in this state of peace at any given moment for as long as I want, because I am the master of my mind. I am aware of the thoughts that come and go. I can choose, reflect, and experience whatever positive feeling or experience I want to create. I'm free from the influence of negative thoughts, uncontrolled thoughts, and all the passing emotions. I am a peaceful, joyful, blissful soul. Instead of being influenced and reactive, I can pause, reflect, come back to this awareness of my true self, and I can respond positively. I am an eternal, immortal being on a continuous journey of experiencing life, learning, and creating beautiful memories, experiences. This body is perishable. It's just a vehicle I am using to play my role. But I am eternal. I can continue this journey of learning, improving, and becoming a better version of myself every day in this life and in the next life. Nothing limits me, not even death. Every day, every moment is an opportunity to experience and create the best. I move on with grace and gratitude. I'm light, very relaxed, free, and happy. A being of light. I understand myself, my journey. I understand every soul's uniqueness. I understand their journey and accept them. I accept myself completely. I'm free from conflict, from all pressures and expectations. I'm light. I'm blessed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti.